There's a song by Anthony Hamilton that says, if you catch me dreaming, please don't wake me up till I'm done. Just leave me sleeping until the morning comes. So, with all due respect, Mr. Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, you've been dreaming for quite some time now. Like, for example, this is the same president who said to us that he is planning to build a smart city. And one thing that comes into mind is that he's been traveling around the world, going to Dubai, going to China, going to places that they are making things happen. And he sees whatever that is going on there and he says, I can bring this to South Africa. He forgets that this is the same South Africa that I promised 1 million jobs. This is the same South Africa that I promised that things are going to be cheaper. This is the same South Africa that I promised that the living in South Africa is going to be affordable. Now here is the same president who's promising all these things. He's coming across the problems that he created himself, the Phala problems, that Arthur Fraser decided to put out in the light because all along we were in the dark. Something that happened in 2020. We didn't know about it until Arthur Fraser said, hold my beer. Now the same president is taking that Section 89 report to the Constitutional Court to say that, well, this needs to be set aside. The president who said the CR17 statements, they need to be sealed. The president who's making sure that his promises are never coming to light. Isn't this a sleeping giant? I mean, if he's a giant, if he's a giant of ideas, a businessman, a giant who can lead South Africa somewhere, this is a sleeping giant. And some giants sleep forever. Now, there is a big problem with the fact that the ANC NEC sat down and did not push Ramaphosa to resign. There is a bigger problem. You know, sometimes as a nation, we need to sit down and realize that there is a thing as in school when they're saying that kids didn't meet the threshold. If it's a 50% to pass, they got 45, and the teachers just say, well, just add that 5% so that they can be pushed to the next class. It seems like in ANC, we have half leaders. They don't have the qualities to lead, and what the ANC does is to say, well, just fill up few things, fake things inside their head and let them lead. And in return, we have clueless leaders. Someone who can lead a company cannot really go and pass and lead a country. You can't do that. So that is what they're doing at the moment, leading us to where we don't know. It's like we are being led by someone who can see what is happening in front of him. So we look at him to lead us. Now, the ANC is not a solution. It has never been a solution after 1999. So after 1999, the ANC ceased to be a solution. We don't have a solution in South Africa. Who do we look at? Maybe the opposition parties. Can they give us anything? No one knows. Because they are speaking from the opposition. You can only give them a chance to see how they can work. For example, these guys are saying that Didi Mabuza cannot be a leader, cannot lead this nation. That is why they are making sure that Ramaphosa doesn't resign, because Didi will be a president. They are really undermining someone who maybe can make changes that the sleeping giant failed to make. I think they need to give Didi Mabuza a chance. I mean, what else do you have to lose? 1 year. Give this guy 1 year. If he fails, make sure that he never set his foot in the leadership. The same way the sleeping giant must never get another term. You have leaders like Zweli Mkhize. They are fighting to become leaders based on revenge. Had he not had any scandals, had he been there, the health minister all along, had he stayed there and enjoyed these fruits that ANC is picking, had he stayed there, he will still be praising Ramaphosa, saying no one must mess with Ramaphosa. But because Ramaphosa decided to pull the step aside, brother, Zweli Mkhize says, I'm going to challenge you. That is the same thing of mentality, of half mentality that they have. They just fill them up with plastics inside their head and say, go and lead. They continue sleeping. So the sleeping giant gets people like Chuli Madonsela. is she a professor or the advocate? Tulima Tonsela. She has never criticized Ramaphosa, never. So she comes to say that there's nothing wrong with having US dollars, those undeclared US dollars. There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, these people, when they defend the sleeping giant, they forget that sometimes they need to look at the facts. They just say, hey, whatever we get, let's throw them the stones at them. And then they do that. They give the sleeping giant the power to go and say, I'm going to challenge this report through the Constitutional Court. Why did you start saying that there should be an independent panel to look at the fact that this guy is accused of he's responsible for this mess of Phala? Why did they come up with that if they are going to tell the nation that we need to set this aside? We might actually never find a day that ANC is taken out of power. Because when elections come, they run towards the poor of the poorest and make sure that they get those supports. And who knows, maybe even the system is just played around with. They say, hey, add that 5% so that we can win. But as long as the opposition party don't make sure that they get this sleeping giant out of the way, we might be in a mess forever and complain like Zimbabweans who complained on the side while Mugabe was running the country down. So maybe we should say not in our watch, Mr. President. If you cannot resign, we are resigning from you. How do we resign? We stop voting for ANC. Hey, we don't care. Zwelim Kiswe, Zizi called Guedemantashe. That defender called Guedemantashe. He should have played for South Africa during the 2010 World Cup. Maybe we would have won against Mexico. So now we have people like Guedemantashe who are defending Ramaphosa. But remember, when you defend the sleeping giant, you must remember that your children one day will grow up, or your grandchildren one day will grow up in this country. They will grow up to support ANC while there's another party that is leading. They will complain the same way we are complaining. Well, maybe you can just hide the money, and when they grow up, they can have that legacy, because no one lives forever. They can have that legacy that you left, that corrupt legacy that you left, and they can enjoy it and not complain and not even care about what is going on in South Africa, because they'll be enjoying it. But for now, the good thing was to resign. This thing of taking the report to Constitutional Court is just a slap on our face to say that I don't care about you guys. I don't care what you say. I don't care whether you criticize me or not. I continue with the road. But the giant is sleeping. How is it waking up now to say something and go back to sleep after it has won? Wake up, South Africa. We are being fooled by people who have no full mentality. They have no 100% qualification. They are half. But anyway, as we do it always, we'll just stay on the side and cheer them. And until next time, guys, please listen and watch the daily updates videos. Cheers.